This video is about how to use the pen tool and shape tools in Illustrator. So this is the paths file, and we're using the pen for this one, and it starts very simple, and the pen tool is this one, not the one with the squiggle. So this one, if you click and hold, you will see it has an add anchor points. That's those little square dots, and then you can delete, and then this shifts the point to be curves or straight. It looks like a caret, like in English where you're putting something in that's caret. So if I have just the regular pen tool, you can do a lot with the pen tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit using Command and Spacebar, and you get the eyeglass plus. And we're going to just copy over with the pen tool. So I'm going to click, and if I hold shift, you can see it's going to be at right angles. And those are the handles that allow you to create a curve. So if I click and drag, you get those curves, and you can see now where the pen tool's going, and you can click and drag, and you can see how that's shaping up. And you can see here that I have a white fill, and it's covering the line, so you don't want fill on lines. So I'm going to hit the no fill, and you can see that if I just click here, it now is its own line, a shape almost. And you can click on this, and you can see those are the points. And with the white detail arrow tool, you can click on just one point, and you can change the direction of the curve. So if I hold down shift, it'll be straight up and down. And I can also change it this way to match the gray curve. And that would be a good match. You could maybe go down a little bit just to completely cover the gray. So here we're going to do a couple of different ways. So just like before, we're going to click and hold and drag, and I'm going to hold shift so it's straight up and down, and then you'll get your line, and you can see where you're going with that. And we're going to click right in the middle and click and hold and drag to get those handles out, and I'm going to hold shift until that's pretty close. You don't have to get it exact. You can always go back and fix it. That's the way I like to work. And then to do the bottom one, we're going to click and hold shift and drag up to get a bottom curve. And again, pretty close. Let me just move along. We don't want to click off of this because then they won't be a connected line. It'll be separate curves. So make sure you still have click and drag. You have everything still active and working together. So if I did this and I use my command tool to click off of it and I start it again, you can see where it has that slash, and I can pick that back up, and now I have one line, and you can see how it's all highlighted. And I'm going to click and drag just like I have been. But you can see this one's straight. It's missing a point. So if I go back to my white arrow tool, so with the points, the white arrow tool is your friend. And you can see that we're missing some handles on this point. You can use the anchor point tool and click on it and click and hold and drag, and now you've got some points coming out. If you want to change direction, you can click using the arrow tool on your anchor, your arm, and it'll separate them. So now you can have two curves going in different ways. But for this B exercise, we want them all to be connected, and you can see how the curves top and bottom are connected. So I'm going to just tidy this up a little bit. You can spend more time on it if you'd like, and make sure that you're holding shift so they're straight up and down, so that makes it a perfect curve, and it's just a matter of matching that. You can see where it looks like a little old-fashioned phone. You can click and drag the curve this way as well. It's a little bit trickier, but it's useful if you're just trying to get that curve where you want and don't want to fool with the arms, so something like that. But you can see how I'm shifting it. It's not straight up and down. If I do straight up and down, you can get that to match. And you can see these arms are the same length. These are different lengths, so they're not going to be the same curve. So this one should be down below where it was. All right, so that's the second type of curve. This one is where it shifts direction. So I'm going to go back to my pen tool, and you can see the key commands here. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to click and drag. Whoop, wrong way. Click and drag up. Click and drag down. Now, if I hold down Option, I'll get that arrow tool, and you can swing it back up, and now I can change direction, so it's not going to go below, it's going to go above, and you can see here. So if I did this, I can say, oops, wrong direction. You can fix that. Hold down Option, you get the caret, and you can swing that straight up. Click and drag up, so it goes up, and again hold down Option, and you get a quick. You have to hold Option the whole time, or it'll bounce back to your pen tool. So I'm holding Option, letting go. And you can go along with this path. And again, you would go back and clean it up. Click and drag down. And Option, you can have that one match the others. And then, I'm just floating here, and I'm clicking on the white. And then I can, make these adjustments using the arms. Arms have little balls on the end, so don't use your pen tool to click on this thinking it's a dot. It's the square ones that are the actual anchor points. This one's pretty bad, so let's fix that one. So you click on this anchor point, and now it's selected, and you can work with those arms connected to the one you selected in this one, and you can select them both and modify them if you'd like. So moving on, I'm holding spacebar command Option to get back out. And this one's going to change direction and be straight. So I'm going to click and drag up, click and drag down. And now I'm going to hold Option, and this time I'm going to just push it all the way into the dot and go straight, holding Shift, click. And I didn't drag out a handle, so I'm going to click and drag, and I can come back and fix that. So I'm going to go to here and push that into the dot, hold Shift so it's straight. Let me move along, and I'm going to, again, I did not click and drag, but you can, and you can fix it later as well. Whoop, I lost my dot, so it's, I would be starting new. I don't want to do that. I want to continue what I'm doing, so I'm going to click on that, just click it, and now I have that path back, you can see, because it's all highlighted. And I'm going to hold Shift, click and drag. Now I'm going to go to my anchor point tool, and I'm going to click and drag straight up and down, and you can see now that curve, it should be straight. So using that tool, I'm going to just push it right in, or you can just click on it, and it'll automatically get rid of it. Click on it, there we go. So play around with this so that you can get used to the pen tool and help with your drawing of your shapes. So if we're doing shapes, these are closed paths, and here, because this is a rectangle, but it's an odd shape, we're going to use the pen tool. If it's a regular shape, you want to use the actual shape tool. So now this is a closed path because it had that little circle. Let me do it again. It has a circle, meaning you're closing the path, and now it's a shape to be filled. So you don't want it to be on a line, and shapes don't have to have an outline. They can be without it. And in a lot of our classes, we don't want a coloring book look where it's outlined like that. So here's another curve. So again, we can do this all in one pass, and you don't want that filled. It's blocking what your underneath guides are. And again, I'm going to use Option to change direction, keeping this top curve and making a new curve down below. Click and drag, Shift, I'm holding Option, and now I've separated those arms, and I'm going to click and drag, hold Option, change the direction, and I can always go back and fix with my white arrow tool, my detail tool. This one is for the whole shape, so I can click on the whole shape. This one I click on individual points. So I'm going to fix that, and then I can color it with anything from our default. You can fix that up as well. So when you're looking at something like this, don't use the pen tool for a circle. It takes too long and it's not going to be accurate. You can hold down Option, Shift, and it will come from the middle. And then of course you can modify that holding Shift so it's a perfect circle. And then you can hold down Option and get the double arrow, and you can copy and hold Shift so it'll be even. And that makes a copy. Or you can hold Command C, Command V, and you get a copy that way. And for the window, you would use a rectangle. It's just a way to make sure it's going to be nice and straight, and it's much faster. But the rest of this, you would need to use the pen tool. And if you just click, 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 you can hold down Shift, you don't get any arms at all. Whoop, I gotta hold down Shift, and then click, click, and I'm gonna click here and drag because I need to do that curve. So when I do this next curve, it'll be ready to go. And I'm gonna hold down Option and change the curve, and I can fix that later. Again, hold down Shift, click, click, click and drag. Now I'm getting some kind of curve, and I can fix the other side later. And click and drag, hold down Option, click and drag, hold, and completed it. So I can use my anchor point tool and just click on these and tuck that in. I can click on this. If I just click on it, it'll take them all away. I just want this one to be straight. And I want to change this, so click and drag, and then I'm going to click on this and tuck that in, and so on. So that's how you would use the pen tool to create shapes and lines. So this, of course, would need to be fixed. We can separate these so we can see what we're doing. Fix that. When you have that little part, that means that your arrow, your arm wasn't fully tucked into the point, and it's giving a weird angle to the line. So let's fix that. So we continue on. So for this one, it's just a line, just like before, but it's an unusual curve. So you would want to hold Option, change direction, click and drag, hold Option, 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 and go along. Now, of course, you'd want to fix these waves, and you want to color the line, not the fill. Oop, getting out of order. See, I've created a new path. I don't want to do that. I want to have that slash, and I want to start again so that it's one line connected. Option, there. So you want to make sure this is none when it's just a line that's not a closed path. What happens if you fill it is that it will try to fill it from the beginning to the end, but it's not a true fill. And if I do Command Y to see the structure, you'll see that it's just a line. It's not a closed shape. So you don't want to do that. You always want to have a line that is not a fill, and then fill in a shape if that's what you need to do. You can also do polygon tool. So if I click once, you can decide how many sides you'd like. It could be filled or it could be a stroke. You could use a star tool, and again, if I clicked once, I can decide how many points I wanted. And of course, now I can modify this if you wanted. So when you're doing your work, you may start pretty close with a certain shape, and then you can modify it afterwards to whatever you need to do.